Good morning, I'm Tracy, and today we're going to explore a topic that's close to many of our hearts, retirement. Specifically, we're going to explore leading up to retirement and the first couple months of retirement. What surprises await you? What aren't you expecting that's going to hit you? What are you going to have to deal with? I've been retired now for 3 months, and we wanted to share our experiences. We're not financial planners, but we are living this life. We did have some surprises. I'm going to share 6 of those surprises with you about our retirement plan and what we discovered about ourselves. Let's talk about this. So, what is a retirement plan? What does ready mean? Are you ready for retirement? What does ready mean? How solid is your plan? How prepared are you to retire, and how can you be sure? Initially, I thought confidence was the key, but after a month or so, I wonder if our confidence was artificially high as we hit some of these surprises. You find yourself starting to question some of this stuff. But how can you tell? Everyone focuses on financial plans, but there's a lot more to be considered. Reality is a great teacher. No matter where you are in your retirement journey, planning, starting, living it, I'd like to introduce my new channel, Living Life in the Silver Lane. My goal is to build a supportive community with you. Let's help each other through this exciting time in our life. I know I would love all the help I can get, and I'm looking forward to building this community and reading all the comments and sharing. I want to share our reality, our experiences, how we course corrected, maybe things we're probably still dealing with. Life is about adapting. How well can you adapt? I invite you to leave comments, like it, subscribe, add questions, answer people's questions. This is a wonderful space to build a community and support each other. What have you learned? How have you had to adapt? I look forward to reading your comments and your questions. So let's get into this. Let's dive in. Day one of retirement. When did you first start what your retirement date was going to be? Who'd you tell? Sharing your decision about when you think you're going to retire, what this date is, makes you more accountable. And that, I think, is a big deal. And it helps you stick to your plan. I shared mine with our financial advisor, and we made it part of the financial plan. The big deal here is that you're leaving a pretty, could be significant paycheck. Your work identity, who you are, what you do, and your built in social circle. If you feel overwhelmed, step back, think about why you wanted to retire, what you want out of retirement, and your heart will tell you what you need to do. What will be your purpose and your focus during this new chapter? So think about that as well. Life does change. It's hard to predict what things will look like in 5 years. So if you made this retirement plan 5 years ago and all of a sudden it popped up, it's been 5 years. Wow, is that fast? And you're not quite ready. Things in your environment are not ready for you to retire. Totally get that. But it's really you guys' decision about when you retire. Sometimes the choice isn't yours. So a lot of times you may get laid off. You may have some other situation that forces you to leave the workforce. If that's the case, take this opportunity to see all the options, figure it out. Again, look back about why are you retiring. I was told a long time ago when there were big layoffs at our company, um, and I was fairly young. Some great advice I got was this use this obstacle as a ladder to look above the maze. And a lot of times, better things will come. So, how did I do on that scorecard? I told my financial advisor what my date was going to be, and I will tell you, at times it was forever, and a lot of times it was pretty fast, and it came up very, very fast. But I'll tell you, I found myself negotiating out of it. So I was like, oh, well, the money's really good. I can save some more. I'm working remote, so that's way better than having to commute. But the stress of the job was kind of tolling, and I was jealous of the freedom that my husband had. He's already retired. We did have some meetings. We built up that confidence, and we decided that this was the time that I was going to retire, and so we did it. And I wouldn't make a different decision. I don't think. So I am kind of excited. So one of the things I wanted to share with everybody. Even though you plan your date, you still have to be comfortable with other aspects of this decision. And that brings me to the remaining 5 surprises. So let's continue. Retirement's a major milestone in our lives. It's time to relax. We worked hard for this. This is really what we were saving for and planning for and working for. And you don't want to miss out. So let's talk about the rest of the surprises. Okay, so we decided to retire. So now what happens? I'll tell you the first thing you find out about yourself is that you just lost your social circle. It disappears. That water cooler, Cubeville, being able to talk to your inner circle of friends that you spend 8+ hours with every day, they're gone. Now, you may have some close friends that may stay in your life, but you have to be intentional on getting together. And you just kind of have to face the fact that you probably won't see a lot of those people ever again. So now what do you do with your day? Okay, so you're home 24/7. Who's already home or who's home in the household? What's their routine look like? You just crashed their party. So my husband was retired already. Because I was working from home, we had different areas of the house that we stayed in most of the day. He got to do his coffee. He had his peace and quiet. He got to watch his morning news, his financial market, do any research on the computer. Pretty much stayed in his den. He had free roam of the kitchen and the great room, and I pretty much stuck to my office working. I'm like, okay, what do we do? And he had this routine that I just crashed. So we had to kind of have a conversation about, I knew the things he was going to do, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I was like, oh, wow, there's some shows on TV that I didn't get to watch because I worked. And so we don't want to fight about the TV shows. So we talked about what we wanted to get out of the morning, and that we would have coffee together in the morning. Um, and we went through, the shows and kind of the why, what was he getting out of it? And he wanted some market, he wanted the latest news. Um, and I wanted a couple of the intros, not necessarily the whole TV show. So there were little bits and pieces of some shows I wanted. So we figured out how to watch them together. And he kind of laughed at the stuff I wanted to watch. And as we talked about the financial news that he watched, we kind of tied it to our portfolio, and we had some great conversations about what was going on. And he was actually excited and shocked that I was getting into the money shows. So in the afternoon, I'm like, oh, the bell's closing. What show is that? Let's turn it on. Let's see how we're doing. We ended up having a lot of fun with that. Okay, surprise number 3, health and benefits. So first off, I have to say with a smile, my husband ended up getting a blood pressure machine within a couple days. I think the day I retired. And so we were kind of playing with it. And he goes, okay, you take your blood pressure. And I had a couple days where it was pretty high and it was super low. And I was like, he looked at me and joked and said, well, maybe this was a good thing. Your health's important. You want to enjoy your retirement, figure out all the doctors you need to see, catch up on all that stuff. Check the box. Exercise. I was exercising. I was getting up at dark early to exercise because of work. And I was like, I don't want to get up at 4:30 anymore, but I also don't want to sleep all day. I will tell you though, if you didn't like exercising before, you're not automatically going to like it. You got to figure out what you want to do, why you want to do it, and figure out a great time that's going to work for you. I have a home gym. That does make it a little bit easier. I do get to sleep in a little bit longer than I did before. I also dreamt about walking around the neighborhood in the morning and work out in the way. I could only take 15-minute breaks in the afternoon. And so there were just some things I couldn't do that now I can do. So part of that is going outside and going for a swim, going for a walk in the neighborhood, going to the park and doing a walk, all kinds of things I can do now that I don't have that limitation of work. So what was work getting in the way? Think of what kinds of things you wanted to do that work got in the way that you get to do when you're retired. For my surprise number 3, you now have time to kind of go look at your benefits. So a lot of times some of your benefits there'll be some extra benefits that you can take advantage of. My husband has a Medicare Advantage plan. So we were looking at that and found there was a fitness reimbursement program. Now, granted, this is for him, but it's still relevant for retirement. It gave him a lot of money to go participate in a fitness program, and he wanted to have a personal trainer. We looked up personal trainers in town and found one, and he actually works out of his garage, and he lives right around the house on the corner from us, and it's all paid for by insurance. That's a double win. And my husband goes and sees him one day a week, and he works with me on what kinds of things and what dumbbell programs and what exercises I can do at home, and helping me build a little schedule too. So I am getting the win out of it. The other just checklist is, as you leave the workforce, you might have had an HSA, which is a health savings account. A lot of times now you can take those with you, and make sure that you pay attention to your HSA account. It will need to turn into an individual account, and you'll have to start paying the monthly fees. I think mine's $3 a month, but you kind of have to transfer it, or you can transfer it anywhere. Banks sometimes have them, but even staying with the same company, you still have to transfer it to an individual. So don't lose out on that money. I had almost $10,000 in ours. And for those of you that haven't retired and you do have an HSA account you can take, start plugging in money to that as much as you can. After 55, there's a catch up. You can even give a little bit more. So there's limits, look them up, stuff that account with as much as you can. It's all pre-tax money. It's a great program. So share your experiences in the comments about any health, exercise programs, any tips, sales, and discounts on health programs that we should look for. So next surprise, time management. I believe this is a big one too. How are you going to spend your time? Have you thought about the activities or the hobbies you want to pursue? Do you have a bucket list? And have you heard folks when they retire, they're like, I don't know how, I'm so busy, I don't know how I had time to have a job. I get it now. There's such a big list, and work gets in the way of getting anything done, that you're all over the board and sometimes disorganized on what are you going to go spend your time on. I had a huge honey-do list that I was like, you know what? I'm going to spend the first couple weeks just kind of getting through this. I can check them off. I can get them done. I can get them off my brain, and then I can go have fun. So that list doesn't go away. It's life. It continues to keep adding itself to the bottom of the list. So sit down, do your bucket list. Figure out how you can almost schedule some of your hobbies, at least dedicate some time to your hobbies to make sure that you're sharing in the work and the honey-do list and having some fun along the way. So I was excited to start back up in painting and quilting, and so I figured out my list, what I want to do, what projects Dave and I are going to do together, and so we're breaking it down. And I am finding some time to do some of those things as well as some new things. So again, in this channel, I'm going to do some behind the scenes vlogging on some of these projects that we're working on. I want to start kind of doing some microgreen farming of some cat grass for my cats. So I haven't done that before. It's all new. So watch for a future video on that. Adapting together again. You now crash this party at home, right? And there could be expectations of what they think you're supposed to do during this time off. And now that you don't work, you have time to go do this, this, and this. And if you don't understand the expectations that they have, you're probably going to have some not fun conversations. So adapt together. Sit down, talk about what's going on for the week, what's important, what are some must-dos, what are some things that you guys want to get done together, some things that they want to do, you want to do, and have that conversation. So we started on Sundays. We put a board up in the kitchen, and we put a little calendar at the top just for the week, and kind of a checklist at the bottom of the calendar list. And so we go through and we talk about what are all the appointments, what are all the activities going on for the week, what are the kinds of things that we want to get done. So we talk about the task list and the focus, and it's not the big task list. It's just the focus items that you want to check off and complete for the week. What are the things that you want to get done for the week? I have a lot of fun doing this. So on Sunday, we sit down, do our calendar, do our list, and it's kind of a big celebration when we get to go check things off the list. Surprise number 5. So we get to talk about finances now. Everyone thinks that retirement is just about the finances, and it's not, as we've been talking about. The finances are two-part focus. One is income stream. Where's your money coming from? Have you been planning? Have you been saving? Have you been meeting with somebody? Do you know where your money's going to come? Do you know when it's going to come? You may choose to wait and not have all those income streams start at once. So you kind of have to figure out, when do they all start? How much will you have? How much do you need? And where did we fall short? So our report card, um, we we've been saving, we've been planning. We have a financial advisor that's been working with us. We kind of do know when our income streams are going to are going to start, and which ones we're going to hold out on. But we really didn't know. We had some annuities, and we didn't quite really understand how those work. And so we did some homework, asked a lot of questions, and course corrected on that one. How much money do you need? It depends. It depends on uh, number 6. What's your budget? How much do you need? What's your spending plan? There's no magic number here. And my surprise was when we met with our financial advisors, we estimated. We're like, well, we think 7,000 a month, or we think 6,000 a month, and we didn't really know. When we retired, I had some time. I sat down and I went through every account. I went through 2 years of our bank accounts, our credit cards. What and who did we give money to in the last 2 years? And found a bunch of one-time expenses. You pay for an annual subscription of this, and you pay for an annual subscription of that. And I'll tell you, I found some things that we didn't really need anymore, and we were still paying for, on top of things that were missing out of our budget. How we adapted, I got to a very detailed plan, month by month, or an average of the month, and what the year was going to look like for what our spending plan was. And that helped us with our financial planner get to balancing that with our income streams. And now we have a good picture. So far, the surprises we've been able to adapt to, they haven't been, oh my gosh, I need to go back to work. And I'm enjoying retirement. I'm looking forward to this new channel. Again, this is my new channel, Living Life in the Silver Lane. I invite you to like, subscribe. There'll be more. I'll talk more about the projects that we're doing. I'll talk about the planning that we did. And there'll be a video about why we decided to move for retirement. This is Tracy from Living Life in the Silver Lane. Make today ridiculously amazing.